Hi, everybody. It's episode 381 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It's Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hello. I just realized I was super far back from my computer.
It happens. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
All right, Rich.
How about yourself, Cobb? How are you doing?
I'm a little tired. It was a long day today. I had to go on site at a client to do something that should have taken an hour, and then their internet went out because Comcast had an outage.
Nice.
Oh, that's like Comcast's second outage in like 2 months.
Oh no, Comcast is just straight garbage.
Well, yeah, but like they had
100.
a major outage like maybe not even a month ago.
Yeah, it was like 2.5 weeks ago. It was like the entire our entire tri-state area was out for varying amounts of time. It was like I was on site at a client the day it happened. They were down for less than half an hour. Erica at her office was down for like 2.5 hours. And
I was down like an hour.
Yeah, it was just all over the place.
I had people on my team that were up and down throughout like a good portion of the day. Even I think someone was down in Florida and she was having issues.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
Yeah,
but
I have Verizon, so I don't have to bother.
Yeah, I wish I could get Verizon, but alas, it's not offered here.
Time to move?
I mean, honestly, when we do eventually decide to move, I will 100% be looking for a place that has Verizon, because fuck Comcast and everything about them.
Well, there's this house in Belmar I can tell you about.
No thanks.
Sure.
It's your house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks.
Just throwing it out there.
I've been to your house.
Yeah, but then it'll be your house, and you can do things with it.
I don't want that project.
Neither do I.
Exactly. That's why you should move and just let the other two keep it.
Nope.
Just sell it to them. Be like, I will sell this house to you for $200,000, guys. It's a steal.
I mean, the market, it wouldn't be a steal. It would be a steal for me.
No, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that was the point.
Yeah, I did not mean it would be a steal for them at all. Before we actually get into real stuff, Rich, you hate Forza Horizon.
I don't hate it. I'm just
I don't know.
I'm losing major interest. If you guys watch my stream from Friday, which I know you guys won't.
Nope.
There's a lot of times where I'm just like, at one point I'm just like, I'm not having fun right now. I'm really not.
Have you considered getting good, though?
But that's the thing, I am good. But
I don't know, you were just telling us that you can't hit checkpoints,
Yeah,
you're constantly rewinding. Don't change your story now that we're recording.
I mean, when I wasn't using manual transmission, it told me that I was above average. Or something, like, it was like it was like the third difficulty. Like, it gives you a base, and it's like you're above average, and then you're skilled or something. I don't really know.
So when you changed your difficulty, you got worse at it.
Well, no, when I was skilled, I was getting pole positions, but I wasn't, or I was getting podiums. I wasn't necessarily always getting first place, but I was getting podiums. But then when I changed to manual transmission, I did start to do a lot worse.
So you need to get good.
I mean, that might, I might need to just practice more on easier difficulties with manual transmission.
That
honestly,
does make a huge difference. Like, the manual transmission stuff is really hard in those sorts of games,
and especially on a controller.
I would need to maybe remap the controls for manual transmission, because it's where's my controller? I believe it's B and X that shift up and down instead of like a trigger or a bumper or something.
Yeah, I would want it on LBRB.
Yeah. I would probably want it on on the bumpers, because it makes sense, especially when you're gearing up, and that's like the whole simulation thing. If you're changing gears in a car, you have to let go of the gas, hit the clutch, and then shift up, and then hit the gas again after you let go of the clutch. So that, to me, it would make sense to let go of the gas, hit the bumper, shift up, and then hit the gas again. But it also, I've just been seeing or feeling that there's a lot of issues that don't make sense to me. The game's physics are just rough.
It's an arcade game.
Yeah, but you could have a little bit better physics.
No, it's not so, that. That's the whole point of it being an arcade game. It's supposed to just be, so it's not as crazy as Burnout Takedown, but it's still supposed to be when you go flying off of something, you're supposed to actually hang in the air for a little while. You're supposed to just kind of spin out and go crazy if you're going too fast and you make a slight turn.
But I mean, and that if you're jumping off a ramp or whatever, it's but I don't know. I guess I can't seem to get an understanding of how to launch from the start of a race. A standing start is just really hard for me in that game. Because I don't know, like, do I floor it? Do I gently push into it? There's a launch stat on your car, and none of my cars launch properly.
Yeah,
and
the answer is you floor it every time, just like in a real car.
But you don't.
You wait till the second light goes off, then you hit it.
And that gives you the speed boost. But there's no lights in fucking Forza.
God damn it.
There's no lights.
It depends on the track. Some tracks have lights.
Lucky 2 isn't waving the flag or anything. But it's... Yeah, there's a combination of things that are just, like... I'm slowly losing interest in starting to, like, not have fun with it. I still, for the life of me, can't figure out really how to drift.
You hit the brake and turn.
No, it's not that simple.
I do it. I drift all the time.
It's not that simple. Like,
it's probably harder in manual. Like legitimately.
Well, no, I can't. I'm in automatic. I can't figure it out. I had an easier time drifting in manual than I did in automatic.
Oh yeah, see, I just pop the e-brake and I drift all the time.
See, but that's the thing. There's two different kinds of drifts. There's e-brake drift, which is what you're doing, and then there's regular drifting using the regular brake.
I mean, I do that one a little bit, but the e-brake is usually easier when I'm trying to do like a tight drift.
Yeah. And like I'm learning that. It's just I mean, I don't play it. I play it once a week right now. If I played it more, maybe I would like have more fun. But like to me, the real fun races are the gauntlets. The long ass races when you complete a portion of the ticket or of the setting up the festival. So every time you complete a portion of setting up the festival, and the last one is a gauntlet race, which takes you generally all around Mexico. Two of them were literally circling the entire map. And to me, those are the most fun races. Because it's just you going. But, like, there are turns that, like, I was complaining before we started, like, the checkpoints are way too tight. And it's really hard to, like, hit that checkpoint in the proper, like, in the line I'm trying to pick, I can't both hit the checkpoint and hit that line, but I'm still on the road the entire time I'm on that line, just not hitting that checkpoint. Or maybe I edge off the road just a smidge, or I'm hitting a turn and then the checkpoint is, I'm a little too far into the turn and not out enough. And there are just things I don't really care about, aspects about it, especially the checkpoints are just the worst in my opinion. Especially when there are a good number of closed tracks, circle tracks, or start-finish tracks that, like, you have to do 3 laps, you have to hit the checkpoints, but why should I have to hit the checkpoints when it's a full track? Like, it's not a street course, it's not a straight line, it's not, like, there's a start and a finish line, and there's no laps, there's multiple laps, there should not be checkpoints, you should have to just follow the track.
Yeah, that one's kind of silly.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of them, like,
so, I mean, in some cases, though, the checkpoints are there to make sure that you're not cutting across the track and things like that.
But, you know, you just put a border, and if you leave the border, you're not on track, and you have to get back on track.
I mean, that's the same as a checkpoint.
But it's not. Because a checkpoint, there's two lines that if you don't hit, you have to rewind and go back to make sure you hit. Whereas a border, if you drive off a little bit, you just drive right back on. You don't have to go back behind and circle around. Like, there is a difference between, like, a border and a checkpoint. And having to get between these two flags and try just not veer off course too much. Like, there's a difference.
Why don't you just go play Drive Club?
No.
Because, I mean, like, Mario Kart 64 has, like, invisible checkpoints on the tracks. Like, going back that far, checkpoints on closed-loop tracks have been a thing in video games.
I'll be 100% honest, I've never played Mario Kart.
But, I mean,
you
have
all
now. Mario Karts have it.
I mean, but there are parts that you can skip the track if you do the right jump. Like, if you turn around. I've seen videos. There were ways to just circle around. Like, it's glitching the game, but you don't have to hit checkpoints and stuff.
Well, yeah, you do. I will send you the link to Summoning Salt's videos about the world records of Mario Kart that very well explain exactly how they're glitching out the checkpoints on the map to make those weird super short laps happen.
But
yeah, like it's very specific situations where like you have to like run into a wall at the right time to get like bounced up and over something, or it doesn't count it. And if you're not on a very specific pixel, it doesn't count it as a full lap. So it just like you just get left behind basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's just not a point in the track where like if you didn't cross it, they tell you didn't cross it.
And
like,
it's
like, absolutely fascinating how the people have figured out some of this shit on some of these levels. But yeah.
But like that's the thing. Like if you're glitching the game to try to speed run the track or whatever, and the game is like, oh, in order for this lap to count, you have to pass through the track. You have to drive the track. Like that is fine because it's not like, oh, you need to hit these two lines in this line. Like you need to hit between this gate. It's if you're off center to left or right, as long as you're going beyond that checkpoint, you're going beyond that checkpoint. But in this game, you have to hit this gate. If you're a foot off from the gate, you fucked up and you have to rewind.
But for a game like this, that makes more sense because you are being told right away that you missed it and you don't have to restart the race. You can just hit the rewind for 2 seconds and adjust your course. In Mario Kart, like if you miss it, you actually have to like if you go off track all the way, either Lakitu literally picks you up and puts you back on there, or you miss your glitch or pixel to like get it to acknowledge it as a full lap, and you have to do that whole lap over again, or just hope that you can hit it a second time.
Well, yeah, if you miss, like, I guess I'm not fully understanding what you're trying to argue against because we're saying the same thing. You're saying there's checkpoints in Mario Kart, and I'm saying yes, but those checkpoints are fine because whether you just have to cross them, you don't have to cross them between two gates.
And I'm saying both are fine.
I don't agree with a racing game, especially on a closed course, a racing game forcing people to go between two gates.
Technically, all real racing is that way. Like, there are track limits in racing, and if you go beyond track limits, like, your laps don't count, or you get a penalty. Like, it's a thing.
Yeah, true. It's a thing. You get a penalty. You lose a position. You don't,
or you get time added to your race. Like it's
yes, you get time added to your race. You don't just get thrown to the back of the pack. That's my. I'm like, yeah. If your response to this is going to be it's an arcade game, but I'm breaking immersion by rewinding, and I'm breaking immersion by missing that and being thrown to the back of the track.
But exactly, it's not a sim. But an arcade game is not supposed to be immersive.
But it is supposed to be immersive. Why else would you play the game if it's not immersive?
I play it to have fun. I don't play it to be immersed in driving. Like the reason that games are called immersive sims is because they're immersive simulations. Like arcade games are not supposed to be simulations of anything. They're just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to take you out of the realism because the real world kind of sucks.
Say you're reading a book, Cobb, and you look away, and then 3 pages go back, and you have to reread everything you just read. It breaks the immersion of the book you're reading. Whether it's a comedy book or a serious book, you're still immersion. No matter what game you're playing, you're still being immersed into this world, into this game. And for me, I'm getting into it, and I'm focusing, and I'm racing this race. And then, click, I'm back behind everyone because I missed, or I have to rewind, and I have to like, actively rewind because I missed a thing. And I'm just like, well, this just takes me out of it. I lose part of it.
But so if you're playing Prince of Persia, you rewind time. Does that take you out of it? If you jump into a pit and you mess up I'm not talking about part of the story. I'm talking about you make a bad jump, you hit the button that rewinds time so that you can try that jump over again.
Because that's a mechanic. That's a core mechanic of the game.
That's a core mechanic of
Forza.
Yeah.
Like
Forza is not. You're not a special racer who knows how to rewind time in Forza.
You don't know that.
You're just lucky.
It's not a realist. It's a simulation. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not a simulation. It's an arcade game. You don't know what's supposed to happen in this.
There's a story, and the story does not talk about him saying he can rewind time. When
Have you played? Have you played all of the Forza?
Have you played all of the Forza?
I have played more of them than you have.
But have they ever talked about how he can rewind time if he misses a turn?
Maybe. I don't pay attention to the story. It's a fucking racing game. I just want to drive flashy cars in circles and see if I can like jump off of mountains. Like I'm not like that's why I said like you definitely sound like you want a racing game. Like, you want a game that is actually about racing, and, like, the Forza Horizon games, I don't think are actually about, like, yes, there's racing in them, but, like, it's the same way, like, Mario Kart, not really about racing. It's about, you know, fucking with each other and having fun. But
Mario Kart, more about racing than Forza Horizon.
I mean, you're not wrong, but, like, you very rarely play Mario Kart with the idea of, like, I'm not going to use any items. In fact, you probably get a little angry if you pass an item and somebody fucking swoops in there and steals it right before you do.
Yeah.
Whereas in Forza, it's just like, I'm going to drive, I'm going to take this little ass, like, sports car that isn't meant to drive on anything except for the perfect conditions of a racetrack. I'm going to just drive up the side of a fucking mountain and launch myself off of it to see how far it'll fly.
But see, that's how you play Forza. That's how you play Forza Horizon. Like, why else would they put races in Forza Horizon if you're not supposed to have races in Forza Horizon? If they wanted an exploratory game, take out the races and just let me explore Mexico. Like,
and that's why it's an open world game. You can play it any way you want. Why do open world games have fetch quests and escort quests? Because there's somebody out there that likes them.
Well, no, let me actually answer both those questions. It's to show you parts of the world to go do the things in. It's to drive, and literally in Forza, it's to drive you to a place so you can see the things that they made. Like, that's it.
Rich, have you gotten, and because you're doing a lot of the races, you may have not even actually done this. One of, like, you know when you unlock, like, a new area, like, it sends you to go do a thing, and then there's usually, like, there's, like, those 3 or 4... It's what you were talking about before, where, like, when you unlock a thing, there's, like, the big circuit mission.
Yeah.
Have you done the one yet where you literally just have to drive, like, the world's fastest car in a straight line?
No, not yet.
So there is one. It is not a race. You are timed, but, like, the time is important because you can 100% do it. But they basically just go, hey, here's this car that goes incredibly fast. Here's a freeway. Just go incredibly fast. And then at the last second before you're starting, they're like, oh, and we lost all of our telemetry data. So can you just try to, like, not hit a bunch of cars while you're doing it? So the whole mission is just driving straight, getting as fast as you can. I think that car goes over 300 miles an hour, and trying to get as many near misses as you can while doing it. And it's the most fun mission in that game because it is just it's not a race or anything.
That sounds like fun, because I have gotten into my fastest cars, gotten on the highway, and done just a bunch of near misses while driving to the next. That is fun. It sounds fun. But I just did one where it's in the jungle, and it's one of those, you get the stamp, and it tells you to go do it. That is a forced win. You cannot lose in this race. Because it's you versus jet skis. And so it's just you driving around in the jungle with these jet ski guys doing jet ski things, and jumping over you and going under you. And then at the end, they literally slow down before the finish line, and you get in first place. I was in last place the entire fucking time, and they slowed down. I watched them stop before the finish line as I passed the finish line.
Yeah, and honestly,
I'm just like, that's stupid.
Yeah,
like,
no, those forced wins are shitty. Like, I don't like those. I like having to place is one thing. Like, having to come in, like, the top 3 or 4 or whatever, totally reasonable. Having to come in first place is absolute garbage in a racing game like that because there are so many variables. But, like, I don't enjoy racing, so, like, I don't really do a lot of the races because they're kind of boring. Like, following other cars and trying to get ahead of them is only, like, it's only fun the first couple of times. I like going and doing all the other weird stuff. Like, there's one mission where it's just go do, like, stupid shit. Go do burnouts and donuts and run into things and, like, cause mischief, and you're going to get points.
I'm pretty sure I did that one because that was boring to me because you're in a big open course in the jungle that you have to go, you have to hit things, drift, and get style points. But if you hit something that's like, you hit a tree, you lose all your style points. So you have to make sure to combo up style points to get more and more points, but don't hit something that you shouldn't hit. Even if you tip it just a little bit, you lose all your style points in your combo, and you have to restart. And I'm just like, you're sitting there for 5-6 minutes, just doing donuts and running into gates the entire time, because that's the only real good way to get style points, to get to to get better than third place.
Oh, see, I didn't have any trouble with it. Like, I never hit anything I shouldn't have hit, and I wasn't just doing donuts and hitting fences. Like, I ended up on the beach, and I was, like, driving through the water. Like,
maybe you did a different one than the one I did, but, like, there was one, it was in the jungle, and it was just, if you accidentally hit the side of the building that's in the middle of this course, you lose your combo. So you could have a 30,000 point combo that you don't stop in time because the physics are nuts in this game.
Well, have you ever driven a car 300 miles an hour and tried to stop on a dime? It's not possible.
I was going 12 miles an hour.
In the jungle, where it's
literally,
wet.
I was going like not even 10 miles an hour. And the bump is like a bumper bump. Like, it's not even hard enough to break anything in the car. It's just, I tap the brake and I lose absolutely all control and go sliding just lightly into the building, and you lost all your points.
Yeah, and that has always been my least favorite thing about any, like, arcade racer, is when it comes to the physics of braking, they're very hit or miss. It's either tap the brakes, and if you're going more than like 20 miles an hour, you tap the brakes and you just spin out and lose control, or they don't brake you at all, and you have to actually slam on them and hope to God you're slowing down in time.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'll probably stick with Forza Fridays for the foreseeable future. Might turn Forza Friday into Halo Friday for a while when Halo is fully released, which should be Friday or something like that.
It's the 8th, so not this Friday, next Friday.
Yeah, so
but why don't you start now and play through all the Halos that you haven't beaten yet?
Well, I'm not going to be streaming this Friday or next Friday, so it won't happen until the following Friday.
But what I mean is, like, every day this week and next week that you do stream, you could stream Halo and beat all 5 existing games.
I've already beaten all of them, except for Halo 5. I've never played Guardians. I
think it's on Game Pass.
I believe it is. But today and tomorrow, because I'm not gonna do Retro Thursday, is 7 Days to Die, because they're finally releasing Alpha 20 on Monday, and so I'm going to finish up the world that we're in, because once Alpha 20 comes out, that save is pretty much not going to be usable, because they're going to have added so much and taken so much out. Excuse me, that I'm not going to be. It's going to be like an unusable file unless I downgrade back to Alpha 19. So tonight and tomorrow on stream, I'm boosting the experience gain to like 300%. Going to make days down to only a half hour instead of 60 minutes. I'm going to have it be a horde night like every night, and I'm just going to get into some ridiculous antics over the course of the next 2 days playing.
Also, it looks like Halo 5, not on Game Pass, at least not on PC Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't... Actually, that is kind of weird, but also not 100% surprised.
Pretty sure they said it was going to be.
No, Halo 5, not Halo Infinite.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, it's not part of Master Chief Collection. So, like, Master Chief Collection's available on PC and console Game Pass. It doesn't look like they put Halo 5 on there, though.
That's weird. Maybe, I won't know. Halo 5, that's weird. That sucks.
Yeah, it's not great. But all the Forza stuff aside, what's on the agenda, Rich?
So besides that, Cobb, because it doesn't really say anybody.
Yes, me.
You played some Link's Awakening on the Switch. At least me and Cobb watched the premiere of Hawkeye last week. I actually watched episode 3 today already. I took the time this weekend to watch the live-action Cowboy Bebop, and then we're just going to remind you about Book Club. It's a very light episode this week.
Though we just spent 30 minutes talking about Forza, so...
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, some topics might be longer than others.
That is true. That is very true. But yeah, I on Black Friday, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, the Switch remake from 2019, was on sale, so I picked it up.
Nice.
How is it?
It's actually pretty damn good. So I realized, like, as I was playing it, that Link's Awakening is probably it's definitely in my top 5 Zelda games. Like, Link to the Past is number 1.
It's the best, so good call.
Link to the Past is number 1, but then, like, 2 through 5, like, it could change, like, depending on, like, the day of the week. Like, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Link's Awakening are all. And this is actually, I love that it looks like an old Baskin and Rank cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
The only real problem I had with it was it didn't always run especially well in handheld mode. And that's how I played it.
That is what I heard back at launch, and I guess that's never been fixed, unsurprising.
Yeah, and it's just like, so if you're walking through like grass and you're just slashing the grass like crazy, it can get like some noticeable slowdown. So like it doesn't like break the game or anything like that, and I never ran into an issue where like during a boss fight it slowed down to the point where like I couldn't hit like I got fucked up or anything like that. But if I was noticing the frames drop, then you know the frames were dropping.
Mm-hmm.
But like otherwise, like it's Link's Awakening. It looks very pretty, like it's very vibrant. The character models and everything are great. There's a little bit, it's not quite like voiceover, but because it's not on a Game Boy cart, there's just a little more sound effect to everything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I don't honestly remember from the original. I mean, the original definitely didn't have it, but Link's Awakening DX I don't believe had it. But there are like little animated intros and outros. So at the beginning of the game and the end of the game, you get like a fully animated intro of like Link on his raft and everything like that. And I remember a much like lower quality version of that in Link's Awakening DX, the Game Boy Color one.
I think the Game Boy one had something probably similar to what it was like in Game Boy Color, just all because it was Game Boy.
Yeah, but this one looks like a up-res, not an up-res, but like, you know the old like 1980s Zelda cartoon style where like from the Super Mario Brothers Super Hour? Do you guys know what game I'm talking? So it's that style of Link and everything like that, but it's HD. Like it looks like it was done recently versus just like an up-res from the mid-90s. It's delightful though. I beat it. I forgot how short that game is. So like I started it Friday and I actually finished it up last night with the only things I didn't do were I didn't get all of the hearts. I think I had 3 possible hearts left to get. I had 1 bottle I didn't get because it was from that Dampy's house thing where like it's the modular dungeon creator stuff you can do that I just wasn't interested in. And I didn't get all of the seashells. I just got enough to get the sword upgrade, which is 40 in this game. It used to be 20. I found out.
Wow, what a bad player! Like not collecting everything.
I mean, look, that is more stuff than I normally collect in a game, but I was having that much fun, and I got to the windfish, like the windfish egg thing at the top. I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't want to finish yet. Let me go see if because once you get a certain amount of seashells, you get the ability, like you get like a little rod thing that actually helps you like find them. So I kind of just like wandered around the world and like waited for that to go off, and then looked for spots where like I thought like a seashell would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pleasant game. I'm trying to think of other stuff in there. Oh, they kept the color dungeon, which was nice. Did either of you guys play the Game Boy Color one DX?
I feel like I probably did, but it's like 25 years ago at this point.
I maybe only played like 20 minutes of The Awakening. So, no, I've never played the DX one either.
Okay. So, the original Link's Awakening was regular Game Boy, so it was that yellowish green with black line.
Yeah.
DX was one of the Game Boy or Game Boy Color games, like it was the black cartridge. So if you played it on a Game Boy Color, things were in color. Mm-hmm. And they added a dungeon to it that was the color dungeon. It's in the graveyard. If you push the headstones in the right direction, it unlocks a staircase. You go down there, and it's like a mini little dungeon to go through. If you beat that dungeon, you get the choice between a red tunic that makes your attacks more powerful or a blue tunic that makes attacks do less damage to you.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, why would you want your attacks to be... No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so, like, I get the blue tunic because, like, I don't really need more powerful attacks, but if I can take a few more hits, that's awesome. I also totally... Sorry, go ahead.
If you took the red tunic, then you wouldn't have to worry about taking those more hits because you'd be hitting more harder.
You'd kill things faster.
Well, so, like...
The best defense is a good offense.
There you go.
So the final dungeon is basically a boss rush. Like, spoilers for anyone that has never played Link's Awakening. The final dungeon is a boss rush against a bunch of, like, shadow creatures. So it kind of mixes up between stuff from this game and, like, bosses you have fought before, and bosses or enemies from old games. So, like, Agamemnon from Link's Awakening, like, when you fight him in the castle and he shoots the balls at you and you have to either knock them back or avoid the ones that are, like, just the 4 balls in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
You fight, like, a shadow version of him, and then you fight a shadow version of Ganon from Link's Awakening. And his thing is he does the fire bats that you have to avoid them, but then he also has a staff, and he spins the staff and throws it at you, and then summons it back to himself. And the only time you can hit him is when he throws the staff, but the timing is very small on that. And it took me a while to figure out how to do it. So, like, I was getting hit by him a lot as I was kind of, like, bumbling around, like, trying to figure out what attacks actually worked on him. And it turned out you either have to actually have a spin attack charged, which is very hard to, like, line up and do in, like, little window, or just do a dash at him, and it does damage. So while I was doing that, like, he hit me a bunch, and had I not had the blue tunic on, I probably would have had to use my fairies. Because the other thing that Link's Awakening is different than, when you put a fairy in a bottle in like other Zelda games, if you run out of hearts, they automatically are released and revive you. In this game, they do not. You actually have to, like, equip the bottle and let them out, and they'll refill your hearts before you run out of them.
Okay.
And just like in the other games, they don't fill all of your hearts if you have more than, like, 12 or something like that. So, like, you got to be careful. Like, if you want to get all your hearts filled back up, you have to know when to use them. The game does give you the ability. There's it's called Secret Medicine. A couple of the later dungeons have it as an item you can find. And there's one lady in a house that if you give her some rupees, she will give it to you also. That basically gives you that, like, one more life. Like, if you die in a battle, you will be resurrected the way the fairies used to.
Okay.
But because I had the blue tunic on, like, I didn't have to worry about that. I did have to use one fairy with the boss after Ganon. Because I was an idiot, I forgot I had the fire wand that does damage to most things, and I couldn't figure out how to hit this one thing, so I started laying bombs, and a bomb ended up hitting him, but the only way I could get the bomb to go off and hit him at the same time was to basically kind of, like, hang out around the bomb myself, so I was just kind of, like, taking splash damage from the bomb, and, like, as the fight ended, I'm like, fuck, the fire rod would have probably done the trick, and I googled it afterwards, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I could have just stood right in the middle of the goddamn room and just spammed the fire rod like one of the earlier bosses, and this would have been over in like 20 seconds.
You know what that means.
What?
You gotta get good.
I mean, look, I beat the game, so I don't really have to get good now, do I?
I mean, it sounds like you still gotta get good, because you still have so much to collect.
I have about 10 seashells.
I mean, it's still, you didn't get them all. You
No.
didn't get good.
And if there was a better item you got for getting all of them, I would. But it's kind of like in Breath of the Wild, where your reward for collecting all the pieces of poop is just a larger piece of poop, I think.
Excuse me, they're seeds, and then you get poop.
Right, I'm sorry. You collect the seeds, you get poop. In this one, you collect all of the shells, and you just get a thing that helps you with Dampy's modular dungeon things that are just completely uninteresting to me. So
that's where you make the dungeons yourself, right? And you could share them with friends and whatnot.
I don't know if you can share them, but it's something like similar to that. Like you can kind of like use these tablets to like design a dungeon and then go in there and like run challenges in it. And like you do that, that is where you get one of the hearts. So that's why like I didn't get that heart because I was never going to do that. And I believe that's also where you get the last bottle from. And again, it's like, I don't need 3, like, the only thing worth putting in the bottles in this game is the fairies. And, like, I didn't need 3 fairies. I didn't even need 2. Like I said, I ended up using one. Had I not used that one, I probably still would have been fine, because the very last version of the boss, It's like a big blob with an eye that opens and closes, and it's got two arms that kind of like rotate around its body, and when it comes in front of it, you just have to kind of like jump and go to like either side, because this is also the Zelda that has the feather and you can jump in.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, this was the Zelda game that was super weird at the time, because you got an actual jump that you could jump over things. Once you got the Pegasus boots, you could do long jumps. And then whenever you went like underground in a dungeon, like down or upstairs, it became like a 2D side scroller where there were Goombas and shit that you could and you could jump on them and kill them, and they were 100% a fucking Goomba.
Yeah.
And there's a little fishing mini game that you can do. It's actually where you get one of the bottles, and if you catch a big fish from there, a blooper shows up, and you can try and catch a blooper.
Isn't this supposed to be like weren't they making this to be something else and then just decided to have it be Legend of Zelda?
That I don't know, but it is, again, spoilers for Link's Awakening from 1993. It's all a dream. So like the whole island is a dream. And it's basically like, it's never totally spelled out, but the gist is the island used to be like a happy dream, like a really good place, and all the dream people that lived there had a good time, and there's like an animal village with a bunch of talking animals and junk. But then the monsters and nightmares started to come in and take over, and they were kind of like making it not a great place to be. Yeah. So as you're going through the game, the owl that's been in most games keeps showing up and like kind of giving you hints on where to go. But all of the bosses in the dungeons are just like, if you do this, we're all going to disappear. That means you too. And then when you get to the end and you finally like defeat the nightmares inside the windfish egg, the actual windfish shows up, which is like this hippie whale that can fly and shit. And you find out that the owl is like part of the windfish's consciousness, and it wakes up, and then you wake up on your destroyed raft in the middle of the ocean.
Wow.
So it began as an effort to port Link to the Past to the Game Boy, which, yeah, that was never going to happen.
Yeah, no, that game, no.
But once it turned into an original project, the director wanted it to feel like Twin Peaks, which, hearing you say a lot of this stuff, that sounds like shit that would have happened in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, no, that totally tracks, because you do, like, there's like weird stuff going on, and like I said, like all the bosses are super cryptic about like what's going on, especially because like all the bosses talk to you, where not all of them, but most of them talk to you at least a little bit. Whereas in most other Zelda games, the bosses are just
they're just creatures,
intelligent monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like I said, like when you actually battle in the windfish egg, you're fighting nightmares that are taking the shape of other creatures you have battled, or things from past games in the form of Ganon and Agamemnon. So, but yeah, it is a delightful game. Drew, I know that you like Link to the Past. You would actually probably really like this one, and like the slowdown from like cutting grass is not bad enough that it makes the game like hard to play or like ruins the playability of it.
And that's like the only spot you ran into that?
The only spot that I ever noticed it was like if I was like going through a field full of like bushes and high grass, and I was just kind of like slashing it like crazy. Everything else, and I think at a certain point, like I just got used to it, and it didn't really like register anymore. But yeah, everything else like played fine, looked fine. The dungeons are all pretty like contained, so there's usually not a lot going on in a dungeon that's going to happen in. But they're all a little bit easier than like others, and I don't know if it's just because I think, well, no, you know what, I played Link to the Past not that long ago, so these are definitely easier dungeons than like you would have had in like Link to the Past or Ocarina or any of those, but it was a Game Boy game, so like they made some changes here and there, like they made Ganon harder from what I saw after I finished it. In the original game, he did not have the rod that protected him, he just had the bats. So in the original, you could literally just walk up and just start attacking him right away. But they also, one other cool thing they do, and I don't know if this was in the original, because I played that 25 years ago. The windfish egg, when you go into it, it's kind of like the Lost Woods, where depending on like what path you take, it might just reset you back to the thing. Like you have to know the right path to go to actually get to like the end of it. And in this case, there's a book in the library in the town that tells you the path to take. And if you don't go read that book before you go to the Windfish, you'll just keep looping, basically. Yeah.
That's nice. I want to go back. I want to play all the old Zeldas. I tried it back before. Fuck Zelda 2. Never playing that game again. That ending is fucking horseshit. But I wish they would add, like, the Game Boy or the GBA or even the DS to, like, the free games, the monthly games, the online games, because, like, honestly, it makes sense just to add Game Boy at least, and to have this on there, the original. But I have never played through, Link to the Past either, or at least as far as I can remember, I never have.
Link to the Past is on the SNES stuff.
So fucking good.
It's once I finish Super Mario World, or just give up on that game, because fuck that game,
Fuck you, that game is also so fucking good.
Fuck that game, man.
No, Drew, like, I watched Richie play a little bit on one of his streams, and Richie, you admit this, so I'm not trying to pick on you. He's fucking trash at Mario.
I'm bad at Mario games. I've always been bad at platformers in general. Like, I don't know why I like Crash Bandicoot so much, because I fucking suck at that. But, like, Mario games, I'm not good at, and I'm on World 6 at this point.
The last time I watched, you were all, I can't remember what it's called. You're on the last island before you go into Bowser's domain.
Okay, so then 7.
Yeah, so I just got to World 7. The last time I played, or the time before that, it took me the entire stream. I rage quit the stream at one point, basically. Because I was just like, guys, I'm not having fun. This is fucking bullshit. It took me all day, or the entire, like, hour and a half that I was on there, to beat 4 levels. Because it's some of those, like, really, like, puzzly levels where you have, like, there's 2 exits, and if you go to the one exit, it's just going to keep circling you around. You have to go to the other one. But, like, my thing was I was trying to get extra lives or more 1-ups because there was, like, no save between that and the boss, and then I get to the boss, or what I thought was a boss, and it was just a fucking Boo Mansion, and then there's another, like, 3 more levels, and then there's the boss, and then fuck that boss. I had 0 fun playing it at one point, that I rage quit, and then I went back to it, and it still took me the entire 3-hour stream to beat, like, 4 levels, or to advance 4 levels.
Right. So, Rich, do you mind if I critique you a little bit? Like, I'm like in a good way, not like shitting on your gameplay. I
mean, you can critique. I'm not saying I'm not going to listen, but I'm not going to learn.
So, and Drew, like, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. You second guess too much. You don't just go. You, like, start to go, and then you stop and go back, and then you go slowly. Mario game, especially Mario World, is programmed so, and I think I told you this before. It's programmed in such a way where you can basically just run. And as long as you jump before you get to a pit, you're always going to land on the other side. You're always going to be just ahead of enemies, all that sort of thing.
Always be running.
No, I am. I always have run.
But you stop and second guess. Like, Drew, did you ever watch...
Stopping is not running.
Yeah. When he does move, you can tell that he is holding the run button. Drew, did you ever watch Brad play, like, Super Mario?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of plays like that, where he stops and kind of, like, thinks about the stuff a little longer than probably needs to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of that is just, Rich, like, you didn't play those games, like, as a kid, so, like...
Yeah, we went from NES to Genesis to PlayStation. We did not have an SNES. And the NES games we had, like, I had Mario 1 and Duck Hunt. And, Tiger Heli, I think, was one of them. Can't remember the other games. We didn't really have that. We actually had a lot of NES games, but none of, like, the big ones.
Yeah, it also looks like you didn't unlock any of the Switch Palaces, or at least not many of them.
I don't know where they are. I don't really feel like going all the way back to try to find them, or, like, I don't know where anything is, so I'm just going through the game the way I would go through a game, not knowing where anything is.
Here's a fun little tip. If you do want to go back and play certain levels, so you know how, like, every level is a diamond?
Yeah.
If it's a red diamond, it has a second exit that has like a separate path. So the Switch Palaces, off the top of my head that I can remember for sure, the green one, which green switches, those blocks are always feathers.
Yep.
Are the second level in the second island. So as soon as you beat the first castle, you go over, you play that first island where you can get the cape for the first time. Then you go up to the cave that it's this I can't think of the name, the auto scroll where like the world moves with you and you can only go as forward as the world does.
Mm-hmm.
In that level, it's a red diamond. The green switches to the left of that. So if you go at a certain point, one of those pillar things that come out of the ground raises you to the ceiling, and
there's a pipe you can go in. Yeah,
there's a pipe. You go through the pipe, and it brings you up top, and there's a separate goalpost that then unlocks the Switch Palace.
I believe it's a key room.
You're right. That one is a key room.
Almost all the second exits are keys.
And then I forget what color it is, but one of the other ones is the second or third level in Vanilla Dome, the like indoor cave world after the second island.
That should be, well, it's blue or red, because
I think it's
Switch,
blue. It's
the
yellow.
first Switch Palace is yellow, and it's just you beat the level, the actual 1-1, because you start on 1-2.
Yeah, like did you get the yellow Switch Palace?
Yeah, I mean
okay.
If you don't get the yellow Switch Palace, you're an idiot. Like that's it's open. It's right there. It's like you just have to go to the left, beat that level, and go up and do it, and then go to the right.
Look, man, you get good enough at this, you won't have to do it. I haven't unlocked that Switch Palace in years.
See, that's the thing. I don't know what it does because I've always got it. Because that's the thing. When I'm playing these games, especially with the 5-minute time limit, I believe it's 5 minutes. I don't think to explore because it's always I got that time limit. Like I have to get to the end because I was a Sonic player and Sonic wasn't. I didn't really think
Sonic is different. Yeah,
Sonic honestly has way more exploration in levels than most Mario games do.
Oh, absolutely. And most of the Mario games I played were Mario 1 and maybe Mario 3 when I was a kid. Because I don't believe we had Mario 2, but I never really in Mario 1 and 3, as far as I can remember, there's not a lot of exploring. It's just going to the right.
3 a little bit more. I mean, pretty much all Mario games are just going to the right. Mario World just had more, there's secrets.
There's a fucking level that I did that, you have, depending on the coins you get, the score you get, and the enemies you kill, every time you go through a pipe could be a different area. And you have to figure out which pipes to go through and how many points to get or this or that or whatever. Wait till you get to Bowser's
Castle.
Mm-hmm. No, because that's good. If it's anything like, I believe it was Mario 1. It might have been, maybe it's Mario 1, where it's like, you have the 3 lines and you have to pick the right one or else you're going to keep looping. Like, if it's anything like that where it's not going to give you an obvious clue that you're picking the right one, like, it's going to get to a point where I'm just like, fuck this. And I'm just going to be done. And
honestly, no. Mario 1's worse about that.
Yeah, like, it's not as bad in World. Bowser's Castle in Mario World just has a bunch of possible doors to go through. They all eventually lead to the same place, but, like, each one takes you on a different type of journey, let's call it. And the original Mario did give you indications if you picked the wrong one. It just wasn't until after you picked it. Because there was generally something right before that as, like, your, for you to, like, focus on. And as soon as you walk through that, if there's an enemy on either side, the enemies disappear. But the other thing, so to answer your question, what the switch does, the yellow switch, if you don't hit it, any yellow exclamation point blocks are just dotted lines. There's nothing to land on. It's just like if you're playing through the games and you see green dotted line squares or red or blue or any of those get filled in when you unlock the Switch Palaces. So that then you either have, like, more ground to run on, or they all have items in it. Like I said, I know yellow is a mushroom, and green is a feather. I think red is a fire flower. I'm not sure what blue is.
I don't 100% know if red and blue have items or not.
They might not. I almost never get them because I don't need them. The only one I normally hit, like, if I'm going through the game, like, for real, is green because I like being able to just grab feathers whenever I need them. The The other fun thing, Rich, if you feel like going back to do it, there's a ghost house on the second island. It's it's like the fourth to last level.
Yeah,
it's in like the north side of the island.
Yeah.
It has a secondary exit to it that unlocks a little level north of it. That is just a level that will give you mushrooms, fire flowers, feathers, and Yoshi. And if you already have a Yoshi, when you hit his block, you get a 1-up. So if you need extra lives, you can just go there. And it's a one-screen level, just like Yoshi's house on the first one. You just go in, you hit the block, you grab the 1-up, you either run off the side or hit start and select, and it exits you, and you go back into it. Yeah. And it also, I think it lets you save every time you leave it. That might not be the case. But, yeah, like, that's a good way, instead of doing what I saw you doing, where you were constantly going back and trying to get through that one level that you knew you could get some 1-ups in.
Well, I mean, that was just because I didn't want to go all the way back to, like, there was one other level that was, like, a couple of areas back, and to me it was just like, I know I can get at least 2 1-ups per jump, so, like, even if I die, I still get 1-up every time I come to this level, and, like, at the end, there's, like, 4, and so it just made sense to me, because it's not a hard level, I'm just shit at it.
Yeah, you are.
And that's the problem. Like, literally, it's one of the levels that, like, there's 2 exits, and if you go to the first exit, it puts you around in a circle. You have to do the level again. If you go to the second exit, and you have the blocks, I think I had the green blocks, or whatever one it is that gives you the 1-ups, there's 1-ups in every one of those, and there's 4 of them. So, like, if you can get to the first exit, there's 1-up, and then you get the other one, there's, like, 3 or 4, plus, there's that secret area there that has at least 100 coins, so that you can just get. You could get like 5 or 6 1-ups in just one run through. You just gotta be fucking good, and I'm not good at this game. I like, you can tell me to get good, I ain't gonna get good, because honestly, it's a retro game. I don't really care that much.
I would love to sit down and like try and coach you through that game at some point, just to see if like I could like help you like get through it like more consistently.
I will be totally honest with you. I will get frustrated and stop even sooner.
Probably.
Because you will be telling me to do this, do it like this, do it like that, and I will not get it. And you will just be like, well, come on, just do it this way, and you'll show me, and I still won't get it. And I'll get frustrated sooner and stop playing.
Well, that's why you have to get good.
I can't. I just can't. When it comes to Mario games, especially like Mario World, like, I can't. Give me that's why I don't really care for like to like try to find the 2D Super Mario collection or whatever, or like Super Mario All Stars or any shit like that. I love 3D Mario games. Give me all the 3D Mario games ever. Like, I fucking love them. Those games are great.
Mario World's better than every 3D Mario game.
Hard disagree on that one.
It's not even close.
Hard disagree on that one. Have you ever played Mario Galaxies?
Nope.
Mario Galaxies is the best fucking Mario game in the world.
It is one of the best 3D Mario games. It is still number 3. It is Mario World, Mario 3, Galaxy.
I'd hard disagree. Mario Galaxies is the best fucking Mario.
Nope.
The platforming in 3D Marios is hot trash.
When was the last 3D Mario game you played?
Sunshine.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a bad example to go with.
Yeah.
You cannot make that call.
Even Mario, like, the Mario 64 platforming is trash compared to Mario World or Mario 3.
Notice I haven't even brought up 64. And the Sunshine platforming is trash because you get the thing that helps you float so that you can be a little bit less accurate because you can slow your jumps and shit down.
Yeah,
like
Drew, you pick the 2 worst 3D Mario games.
Mario Galaxy is fucking amazing. Mario Galaxy 2, honestly, although it's 3D, is a lot more like Mario 3. But it's a really good game as well. I wish I never lost that copy of it.
Yeah, Galaxy and Odyssey are 2 fantastic 3D platformers, and they are the best 3D Mario games, bar none. Like full stop. But 2D platformers and 3D platformers are so different, you really can't compare them. But like comparing just Mario games, World, 3, Galaxy.
I disagree.
As somebody who is not bad at any of them, I'm not great at all of them, but I'm not bad. That is my definitive list.
I would go Galaxy, Odyssey. I don't know. I honestly don't have enough knowledge of past Mario games. Like, I've played enough of Mario World to know that, at least in my opinion, it doesn't really hit top 3. It might hit top 5.
But you also don't like you admitted you don't like 2D platformers.
I'm bad at the Mario style 2D platforms. So bad at it.
I wouldn't expect 1, 2, 3 World or Yoshi's Island to be in there.
Well, Yoshi's Island doesn't belong in there anyway.
Yoshi's Island is a good game.
It's a game.
It's delightful.
Did they remake that one?
They've made sequels like Yoshi's Story and stuff like that.
I had a Yoshi's Island game on, I believe, DS. And I enjoyed that one.
Oh, no, they did do that. It was like Super Mario Advanced, 7 or something like that was Yoshi's Island.
That sounds right.
I don't remember. But I like that one. That one was fun. But, look, when it comes to retro games, I have a very select style of games. Like, I tried playing the Kirby game on SNES. I think it looks garbage.
Oh, yeah, no, SNES Kirby is the worst game. I mean, it might not be the worst Kirby game, but it is such a bad game. It's way too easy. It's
ugly. That's my biggest issue, does not look good.
It's got this weird, it's almost like and it's a later SNES game if I remember. It's from the mid to late 90s. If I remember correctly, it looks like it's got it's trying to have the same style as Yoshi's Island, but without any of the charm that Yoshi's Island has. Like that hand-drawn, pencil-y look to it, and it does. It just looks bad, especially when you look at Yoshi's Adventure. Kirby's Adventure from the NES is such a better-looking game.
Yeah. Which I did not realize until after I beat Kirby's Adventure, that, it's not even really canon. It is canon, but it's the Kirby games are always Game Boy games.
Yeah.
And until SNES, with Kirby's Dream Land, no, it was Dreamland is on the NES, and then it's Kirby Adventure.
Dreamland is the Game Boy games. Kirby's Adventure is the NES game.
I don't think so.
I literally have a copy of Kirby's Adventure on the shelf behind me for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And I just Googled it too. Kirby's Dream Land was released in 1992 on the Game Boy.
Okay, so then, yeah, Kirby's... I could have swore they talked about dreams and shit like that in Kirby's Adventure. I don't know.
Probably.
But the end of Kirby's Adventure was the most ridiculous thing I've ever experienced. Because it's it goes from, a Kirby game to, sort of a bullet hell to then just this ridiculous, constant moving boss fight. Luckily, anytime you die, it brings you back to that part that you're on and not have to restart the entire thing. That was a ridiculous thing. I did not know there was that many fucking Kirby games.
Yeah, there have been a lot of Kirby games. I am excited for the new one, Forgotten Land.
Yeah, I wanted to try to beat as many of them as I could, or what I could, that were available, by the time that one comes out, at least that were free, but in my opinion, Kirby Dream Land 2 doesn't look good enough to even play, and I think it looks gross to where I just don't care.
Well, Kirby Dream Land 2 is a Game Boy game.
Kirby Dream Land 3. And then fucking, what is it? Kirby, excuse me, Dream Course. Kirby's Dream Course is just stupid. It's fucking golf.
It's a golf game.
I didn't know that when I tried it, and I was so mad at that too.
Yeah, there are more Kirby games that aren't really platformers than I think there are just regular ass Kirby platformers.
Yeah, for sure.
But they were a lot of them for a long time, and still are occasionally handheld stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think the console ones ever did super well because they released garbage like Dreamland 3.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the Yarn games were all on handheld, weren't they? Because I don't think they were on Wii.
They were 3DS games. I think there was a Wii or a Wii U.
I think it was Wii and Wii U, but I already closed it. I'm not going to worry about opening.
But Rich,
but let's move on.
Yeah, how was Cowboy Bebop? I'm going to jump around a little bit.
We're gonna do Cowboy Bebop. All right.
Yeah.
This one's going to be quick because I'm not.
No spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it or anything. But and before you go, looking at Rotten Tomatoes, I already did. It's 50% or some shit like that. Whatever. it's good. It's like, it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's good. It's enjoyable. It's its own story. Do not go into this thinking you're going to be watching a one-to-one exact remake of the original fucking series. Because it's not. It's its own thing. The characters are different. The story is different. How it ends is different. At least as far as I can remember, all of these are different. I've never actually seen the original series straight through. I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen the last episode.
Well, then you can't make these sorts of declarations.
I've seen enough to know about, I've seen enough episodes, or, like, I might have seen a good collection of almost all of them, just not in order.
I mean, how long has it been since you've seen any of the anime?
It's been quite a while. I actually, after I finished the live action, I started going back and rewatching the original. And, like, yeah, the first episode in the live action is very similar to the first episode in the series, in the original series. And, like, they do have characters from both, and they do have, like, villains, I guess, from both. But, like, I'll just go out there and Ein is different. Ein is different in this.
Thanks for the spoiler.
You'll look, he's not that different, but he's still different. Like, the way, like...
Is he a corgi?
He's a corgi.
Then that's fine.
But, like, the way they get Ein is different than how they get it in the original series. And certain characters that, by the end of the original series, were obviously introduced, don't get introduced till the end of the season, and it's just... It is... Don't go into it expecting Cowboy Bebop, the anime, from 90... whatever.
8-ish.
98.
97, 98. So the thing that I have heard from a bunch of podcasts that didn't spoil anything, but a lot of what they said was the guy that plays Jet is fantastic. He's probably the best part of the show.
He's really good.
They say that John Cho... every podcast that I've heard that has talked about it basically said the same thing of, like, they love John Cho. He was a bad pick for Spike, because he doesn't have the, and you might not get it the same because you just haven't seen Cowboy Bebop as much, but I guess, like, he doesn't come off as sort of just the aloof kind of, like, slacker. He comes off more as just, like, a grumpy jerk.
No, I 100% agree, but it's because it's a different series.
He's also, like, John Cho's in his 40s, and Spike was supposed to be, like, late 20s.
No, they were always supposed to be, like, much older than Faye, so he's still supposed to be, like, 30s, at least.
Dude, look it up. Jet is supposed to be, like, 36, and Spike's supposed to be, like, 27, and Faye is, like, 80.
Well, I mean, she's 80 because she was frozen.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be in, like, her early physically, she's supposed to look like she's in her early 20s, and Spike is supposed to be in his late 20s.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because it's anime, and, like, they could be anywhere from the ages of 18 to 112, and you just wouldn't know.
Yeah.
You were spot on with the ages.
Fuck right, I was.
27 and 36, so.
Nice. The other thing that I have heard, is the anime, it was basically Monster of the Week. Like, there wasn't really a through line through the anime. It was mostly just, like, one-off episodes with, like, you know, if a character was introduced as part of the crew in episode 3, they would be in the rest of the show unless, like, they left for a reason. But, like, it's not like they were going after the same bounties every episode or anything like that. Apparently the show, it sounds like they tried to make one overarching plot, and they used the Spike Vicious plot line, which I didn't really care for in the show. Like, I thought in the original that was actually kind of one of the weaker parts of it. So I don't know if they did better with it.
What is the last episode of the original Bebop?
Spike versus Vicious, and Spike dies.
Okay. Does he die? I thought he lived.
Nope, Spike dies. Spoilers for Cowboy Bebop, the anime. Spike dies at the end.
I could have swore I saw it and Spike lived, and...
Nope.
What's her name died?
The last thing he does is he's laying on the ground dying, and he holds up his hand in, like, the little finger gun and goes bang, and then it fades to black, and he is assumed dead, and there has never been any other media past that, because the movie takes place prior to the last two episodes.
So it's very ambiguous. Like, they don't let you know whether or not he lives or dies. It's just...
I'm pretty sure the creator has come out and said that Spike dies.
So yeah, they go with the Spike Vicious storyline, but it's different. Like, that's all I can really say without going into
too
much detail, it is different. They made it their own. They took it in a different route. So yeah, the Spike that we know from '98, this is not that Spike. This is a different Spike with a different storyline and a different reality. So he is more of a grump and less of like the aloof guy. He's more of the like, I got a secret past that I don't want anyone to know about, and so I'm gonna act all like cool and coy, but I'm just gonna be kind of grumpy all the time. They focus a lot on Faye's backstory a little bit, and like the way they wrote her is very as far as I can remember, at least. They didn't have my favorite episode where the ham that's in the fridge that grew mold is making everyone sick on the Bebop.
It's a lobster.
Was it a lobster?
It's a space rock lobster. Come on now.
I could have, for some reason it was a ham in my head, but like they didn't have that episode in there, so like that just brings it getting showed down at many pegs. But even as the show ends, it ends in a way that like it intrigues me to like I do want to know more about like what they're building and what they've got, and it doesn't just end at the end of this season. It leaves stuff open, and everything is different. It is all different. And there are a lot of fans out there who are just berating the show because it's not 98 Bebop. And it's like, well, fuck you. I don't want to see that. I want to see something new.
But that's the thing. People, like, when they call something a live-action remake, they want it to be a live-action adaptation of what they know. Because, I mean, you had similar complaints about One Note because it was so different and poorly done.
About Death Note?
Yeah, didn't you hate the Death Note movie?
I hated the Death Note movie because it was a bad fucking movie. I didn't hate it because it's like the things they changed are things they shouldn't have changed. They made Light dumber. They made his love interest they made his love interest the actual Kira instead of him, essentially. Like they changed it to like
they Hollywooded it.
They Hollywooded it too much. Whereas this, like, they didn't just, like...
So, let me throw this out there, Rich. So, I have zero, attachment to Death Note. I've never seen the original anime. It's just something I was never all that interested in. It was always kind of, like, off to the side. I watched the movie. It was a bad movie because all of the acting was really bad. But, like, all the things that you just said, like, you disliked, they didn't bother me at all because I didn't give a fuck. Like none of those characters meant anything to me, so like I didn't have any other like preconceived notions of them. But like for Cowboy Bebop, like I've seen that show a bunch of times. Like I remember I remember the characters and traits and like the way things played out. Where like when I go to watch this, like I might have a different reaction. I might have a reaction similar to what you have about Death Note, where it's like they shouldn't have done these things. They should have left the character this way, if that makes sense.
It does, but the I'm trying to figure out how to like with the comparison between Death Note and this, like what they did to Death Note, like just brought it down, whereas this made it its own kind of like when because they still kept kind of true the original style, the original like it's very jazzy, it's very cool, it's very like one of the earlier scenes is just Spike walking. And it's his legs walking. And I'm like, that's a very Bebop thing. And it's like, they took the notes and they kept, like, the nostalgia, sort of, but they made it their own. But with the Death Note, the main antagonist, the main villain, who's the main character, didn't actually end up being the main villain. And he was actually a fucking moron. When he's supposed to be a child prodigy who like, and when I say I don't want the same exact thing is I want the characters to be similar to their characters, if not, like, they don't have to be exactly the same, but if you're going to have a character named Light Yagami who is supposed to be a child prodigy, smarter than everyone else, going in to become the world's greatest detective or whatever he's supposed to be doing, he kind of needs to stick with that. Just like you have Jet and Spike, who are these like kind of down in their dumps, bounty hunters who like they're decent they're capable at their jobs, but just keep getting the short end of the stick and keep just not able to like stay afloat, or just barely able to stay afloat. Like, and they have a good dynamic between each other, and they're both still themselves, but they made it its own thing. And so that's, go ahead.
Real quick, in the Death Note movie, he was not Light Yagami. He was Light Turner. He's a different character, so fuck you.
He's fucking Light. You know why he's Light Turner? And
because they whitewashed it.
Because they whitewashed it. Yeah, that's why he's Light Turner. Like, you couldn't have a white kid be Light Yagami.
I'm just saying, man. I just ruined your entire argument because you had the name wrong the whole time. He's Light Turner in the movie. Different character, different universe. The whole thing takes place in California, right?
It takes place in the United States. It's the same character. Like, that's the thing. Like,
I'm kidding.
I know you're just trying to be a dick, but it's just, yeah, I enjoyed Bebop. I enjoyed the live action Bebop. I want to see where they go with this. I honestly, probably the weakest part, in my opinion, was Faye. Not as much the actress, just how they wrote her.
I can understand that. Like, Faye's, even in the anime, like, Faye only has a couple of episodes where, like, she really stands out as, like, a good character. She's iconic for the way she looks, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's, yeah, and without going too far into it, it's just, I can't remember what they did with the original Bebop Faye, and like how like you said, she didn't really get that many episodes. Out of 24 episodes, she might have had a handful that were dedicated to her. She was
the focus of a bunch of episodes, but like they never had like a good like they only had a couple of good moments where like she really shined as anything other than the scantily clad female character, because that was the time that show came out.
Yeah. And it's like, with this, like, they wrote her, it's just, like, I don't want it to sound like I'm mad that they didn't write her as the sexy, scantily clad character, but the way they wrote her and the way she's being portrayed, it just, maybe it was a direction that she was given, maybe it was, like, she just didn't really fully fit with the group.
Yeah, with the crew. That's Faye, though. Faye didn't really fit with them either. She was very, like, sarcastic and sassy and just kind of, like, didn't give a fuck, and she basically just stuck around because it was a free place to live. Like, anytime she had a chance to make money on her own without including them, she did it. Yeah. Like, she was very much like, I'm in it for myself. Y'all can tag along if you want.
like there was an entire episode, in the live action. There's only 10 fucking episodes in the live action. And they dedicated an entire B story of Faye and Spike arguing which bounty to go after. And
I think that happens in the show.
And then them, like, sizing up each other's, like, bounty record. And I'm like, to me, this interaction seemed it seemed a little unnecessary. At least in what they were building with this show. Especially after, like, what they had done the previous episodes.
Yeah, I'll try. So, like, Erica and I have been slowly watching the anime. Like, I think we're only, like, 5 episodes in or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll try and, get us through that maybe, like, over the weekend and start the live action. And then, maybe at least have, like, an opinion come next week on, like, the first couple of episodes.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to watch the original anime just to have, like, better comparison to it. But
I mean, like, stuff like that, the anime is probably inevitably going to be better because they can get away with more with cartoons than you can get away with live action.
Yeah. I was looking it up today before we recorded, and apparently the anime is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I believe it. Drew, have you ever seen Cowboy Bebop?
I don't think so.
It's a good show. You might like it.
It is. I think it is very Monster of the Week, and didn't you? It's not really monsters, but like it's really like each episode is pretty much of its own, and like I could have swore you liked that stuff.
I mean, I don't know. I've never. Well, I guess that Dorohedoro that was on Netflix like last year is kind of that way, and that was really entertaining.
Didn't you love like Law and Order and shit like that, where it was just like each week was it?
Okay.
Honestly, Cobb, correct me if I'm wrong. Cowboy Bebop kind of could be like a little bit of Law and Order.
It's Law and Order Bounty Hunter edition.
Yeah, it's just they're not bringing them to court, and there's no court trial. But like, it's each week is like there might be some minor overarching story that you'll see over a course of 150 episodes. But for the most part, each week is kind of just them dealing with whatever issue it is, like a rotten lobster that is making everyone sick.
Yeah, that's such a weird fucking episode.
It's such a weird episode.
But for the most part, it's a space western, with really good music. Like every episode of Cowboy Bebop is named after, like, the name involves some sort of like musical genre, basically, or like musical concept at the very least. Like there's one episode called Heavy Metal Queen where Spike ends up interacting with like a big rig space trucker. And she is super into heavy metal. So like when he has to hitch a ride on her thing, she's just blasting heavy metal and he's just like sitting there like, this is fucking terrible. And then like their episodes are called like The Real Folk Blues and The Ballad of Fallen Angels and shit like that. And yeah, like, so like every episode kind of has like a different musical style that it's kind of like wrapped around too.
Okay.
But otherwise it's a lot of, them on some sort of like bounty. Like the very first one is the very first episode is very straightforward of like them just trying to track down somebody that has a decent bounty on their head. But then like other episodes start out as like a bounty hunt, and then like sometimes you get a little more sci-fi. Like there's one where like a kid, I forget if the kid was like ageless or a puppet or something, but like something weird happened. And then there's certain episodes where you get more backstory on the characters. Like we were talking about before, Faye, one of the main characters, she was cryogenically frozen at some point, like decades before. So like biologically she is actually, or chronologically, she's actually in like her 70s or 80s, but biologically she's only 22 or something like that.
Does she not have her memories in the original?
If I remember correctly, she doesn't have all of them. I remember there's an episode at some point where, and I don't understand why this is the thing they chose to go with, but she finds a Betamax tape and then has to go find a Betamax player to play this tape of herself as a child. It's very weird because like the show takes place like in like, so it's in the future. It's actually a really cool concept when it comes to like space stuff. There are no aliens. Everyone's human. Humans have basically just colonized like our like part of the galaxy. So like there are like civilizations and stuff like that on like Mars and Jupiter and like all the different planets in one, or like around them or whatnot. And like nobody really lives on Earth anymore because Earth is just like a shithole like it is now, but worse. So like even though it's in space, there's no, they're never fighting aliens or like anything like that. It's all pretty like grounded outside of like the space travel. Yeah. And I think it's on Netflix. Like I think the anime is actually on Netflix.
The anime, they got the anime sometime in October. Like I think 2 weeks before the series.
That makes sense. And it's also probably one of the best dubs of all time, let alone for a show that came out in the US in like the early 2000s when like dubs were notoriously garbage. Believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I know you may or may not even bother with it, but I think you would actually enjoy it a lot, Drew.
Yeah.
Just as far as, like, you are with scripted television, I think that sort of, like, mostly disconnected stuff would probably, like, catch you a little bit more than most things.
Yeah, probably. And there's also something to be said about it only being 26 episodes.
That, too. And, like it's 26, like, mostly easy episodes to watch, too. Like, you could very easily watch, like, 4 or 5 of them because they are only 20 minutes, 22 minutes. And be like, oh shit, it's been like 2 hours. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas something like Naruto or Bleach, like, it's impenetrable for me.
Naruto is only 700 episodes. Come on.
650 too much.
Look, two episodes a day, and you'll get it done in a year.
Man, I have 58,000 hours or minutes of music and podcasts I need to listen to every year. Like, where am I going to find the time?
Look, man, just It's 40 minutes, 44 minutes a day for a year. I think you can watch Naruto.
Look, man, I'm trying to watch One Piece. I'm like 40 episodes in, and they just keep making fucking more of them. At least Naruto's finished. Like,
I think One Piece is 3 episodes a day right now in order to get it done in a year.
And honestly, like, I don't even know if that would actually work out because it's they just keep making more. Like every week, there's another fucking episode.
I think they just reached 1,000.
They did. It was last week when we were at Anime NYC. It was I think it was Saturday night. They actually did a screening of the 1,000th episode before it released on Crunchyroll like the following weekend. Mm-hmm. But like you figure like the manga is 30 or 40 chapters past that even. So like, and it's not slowing down. So that show's going to go forever. Like,
well, I mean, look, if you watch 3 episodes a day every day for a year, that's 1,095 episodes. So if
they
you
can
start
only do 50 episodes a year.
If you start right now and do 3 episodes a day, you can get it done by this time next year because they're only on 1,000 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. We definitely don't watch 3 a day. Like, at most, it's 2. Sometimes it's 1. It depends. Like, sometimes we'll watch 1 episode of that and then, like, an episode of something else. Sometimes we'll watch 2 of it. Kind of depends on, like, the day and, like, where we're at in, like, a story. Like, the last couple of nights that we watched any anime, we did watch, like, multiple episodes of One Piece because it was in the middle of, like, the big climactic fight of that arc. So it didn't make sense to stop and watch something else when it's, like, kept ending on a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
That's a goofy fucking show, though. Like, I haven't gotten to the point where, like, I get the hype for it yet, but, like, it's starting to get there, and, like, I do understand some of the appeal.
Yeah.
Because it's got some zany, goofy characters, but that's neither here nor there. Do you want to talk about Hawkeye a little bit?
Yeah, let's get into some Hawkeye talk.
Drew, did you watch Hawkeye by any chance?
Hell no.
You gonna? So you're going to, is what you're saying.
Totally. Absolutely, totally gonna watch it.
I mean, I figured. I know you're all about the MCU stuff. Like, you're in the middle of your MCU rewatch so that you can get ready to see Spider-Man on the 17th.
Yep. See the third Spider-Man movie that I haven't seen the last 2.
But have you seen the first 3 and the second 2?
No. I saw the first 3.
Okay.
I didn't see the second 2.
You'll
the
be
last
caught
Spider-Man
up enough.
Look, 2 of the villains in the new one.
One of the characters.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, 3 of the villains in the new one are from the 3 movies you've seen, so you're good.
Ah.
Yeah, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, and Sandman are all back.
I did see a commercial for it the other day. I was like, oh, look at that. It's got those guys.
And also, somebody invisible is punching the lizard, so it's either Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Brad Pitt from Deadpool 2.
You're wrong on all of them. It's Ant-Man.
That would actually be really funny if that was like everyone thinks it's this like big cover up to hide like Andrew Garfield from punching the lizard, and really it's just fucking Paul Rudd.
I saw like a meme comic where it was just like they zoomed in and it's Ant-Man punching him.
I'd be on board for that. But yeah, Hawkeye. Hawkeye finally released.
Hawkeye, right?
You got it right. Good job.
Hawkeye. Yeah. It has an interesting premise to it as to why like Kate is wrapped up into things. I liked the first 2 episodes. The third one, I know you haven't watched it yet. Third one is really good.
We'll probably watch that tomorrow.
I was laughing through a good portion. It's a nice origin story to Kate, and shows you like how she becomes who she is, and then just like it gives Hawkeye the spotlight which he's always deserved but never really gotten.
Yeah, they're definitely letting Jeremy Renner like have a little fun with it too, because like Hawkeye in these movies has been kind of dry. Like he has his like funny moments, like when he's giving Wanda, I think it is, the pep talk in Age of Ultron, where he's like, "I've got a bow and arrow, and I'm about to go back out there."
Yeah,
like or when he's aiming at Pietro, and he's just like, no one would know, no one would see it. It's just, but like for the most part, he's just he's the straight man to like all the crazy superheroes, and in this, like, when he has to go to the LARP and actually, like, do the whole LARP thing, it's like, okay, yeah, no, you guys are leaning into it. But it's also, it's the most comic accurate thing they've done, like, that I can think of, at least, that isn't actually breaking any of the MCU stuff either. Like, in the comics, Hawkeye is deaf. Like, he wears hearing aids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool that they're using that now in the movies. Like, it's never been mentioned before, but they have that very brief moment where they show just, like, him, like, jumping through windows and being right next to explosions and just all the bullshit he's been through.
Yeah.
As, like, oh yeah, no, that is 100% what would happen. You would have, like, really bad hearing loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even Kate's is similar too. Like, obviously she wasn't there for the Chitauri invasion, because that didn't happen that way in the comics, but she did she came from a rich family, and she did, like, learn, like, archery and gymnastics and all that stuff. And then if it's going back like 20 years, so I might be misremembering this, but, like, she kind of picked up the Hawkeye mantle after Hawkeye was presumed dead from a storyline, and then when he came back, he eventually kind of gave her his blessing, which I assume is where this is going.
Yeah, probably. I like that, like, as of right now at least, the main villains are the Tracksuit Mafia. Like,
oh no, I love that it's those guys, and that they're saying bro the way they did in the fucking comics.
Mm-hmm.
So the show so far has been very heavily influenced by the Matt Fraction, David Aja comic book run from, like, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're the ones that introduced Lucky, the dog, pizza dog, and, like, the Tracksuit Mafia and all that stuff. I believe, I don't know if she showed up yet, but Echo, actually, I think they showed her in the second episode. Echo's going to be in it, who is, like, another, like, Marvel superhero. She's getting her own spin-off.
Yeah. Okay, that's alright. Yeah, she was in the second episode, or third episode as well.
She's cool. She is also deaf, and she's got the, she's, like, perfect mimicry or something like that. Like, she can watch somebody do a thing and then do it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the whole, like, even just the interactions between Kate and Clint, like, in that comic book run, they already had a mentor-mentee relationship, but they were also very, like, they were almost like brother and sister. Like, they bicker and fight and argue and all that sort of stuff, which, like, you can see that, like, they're trying to lean into that in this show, but because, like, this Clint is significantly older and they've just met, it's a little bit more reluctant.
Yeah.
Like, Kate is leaning into, like, trying to be friends, and Clint's just like, I just want to get my fucking suit back, make sure they don't murder you, and then go home to have Christmas with my kids.
Yeah, he just wants to be home for Christmas. There's a very sweet moment in episode 3 that, like, almost had me crying. And it's just the way they're writing this, the way they're putting it together, they're doing all the right things with this character and with this storyline, and like you said, the interactions between Kate and Clint are great. I think they casted Kate very well.
Oh yeah, no, like, Haley Steinfeld is, like,
yeah,
everything I've seen her in, she's actually really good
in. Mm-hmm. Just, like, I want to keep talking about the third episode, but it just aired today. I'm not going to. But there's just, like, there were great parts, like with the LARP situation and stuff in the second one, and just, like, the whole setup with the first episode is really well. There's no, like, specific point that was awesome. It was all well done. But, like, the second one, like, the thing that, like, stands out to you is the LARPing point. And the third one is just, there's a whole sequence. They have a one shot that is really well done. And it's just like they're doing the right stuff with this character, and I'm so excited to, like, finally see him get some good spotlight, and hopefully let him, like, watch him put the mantle away, or he doesn't wear a mantle, but, like, put the bow away and retire for real this time.
Which, like, I like in the comics, like, they're just both Hawkeye, so like, they could do that here, where it's just like, he just becomes less active, except for, like, the Avenger movies, the way he already has, or except for maybe seasons of this show, where, like, if they try and pull more in from the comics and they do, like, a season 2, like, maybe it ends up being, like, Kate goes out to the West Coast, because that is very similar to what she did in this run of the comics. Like, at one point, like, her and Clint got into a fight, so she literally just moves out to the West Coast and takes the dog with her. In the comic, the dog is actually Clint's initially. Mm-hmm. Like, he is the one that finds the dog and feeds it pizza.
Yeah.
But then the dog bonds to Kate, and Kate ends up taking it with her.
what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh, like they're not going to retire Clint fully with this series.
No.
Depending on where it goes, like they can't, because they currently have a running storyline at the end of Black Widow where her sister thinks Clint is the one responsible for Widow's death. So
that's 100% going to happen in this show. Like, she is going to show up at some point in Hawkeye. I would bet money on it.
I don't know. I feel like it's not going to happen. I don't think there's going to be, like, there's, in the trailers you see, like, at one point, his wife is on the phone and it's like, oh, there's an Avengers level event or whatever. I think that's going to be full lie, and it's just them dealing with the Tracksuit Mafia, with Echo, and with, her future stepdad, being possibly a murderer. And it's just like, it's going to be a lot more low scale. It's not going to be the big, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's going to probably be more smaller scale, like with, WandaVision.
The show that just created the multiverse. Come on now.
WandaVision doesn't create the multiverse?
I'm kidding. But no, like, I legitimately think that is where it's going to play out, because as of right now, they have a pretty stacked movie schedule. And nowhere in that movie schedule do they have a team-up movie or any other place to fit the Black Widow Hawkeye thing.
That's why, look, I'm not saying that they're not going to do it on Disney Plus. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to do it in this season. Because this season only is supposed to go up till Christmas Day. It's only like a handful of days. I really don't think they're gonna bring that into play during this.
Look, I don't know that they'll finish it during this, but I 100% think it's going to at least start. Like, it might be the last episode that she shows up, and then that is like the lead in for a season 2. But like, I guarantee Yelena shows up in this season.
If it's the stinger for the last episode, I'm not going to count. But to me, I don't know. I just don't know. Like, if it's the stinger, it's the stinger. But if it's not the stinger, I don't think it's going to be a main focal point, is what I'm saying. If it's the
credits that it shows up in, then yes, that, like, I wouldn't count that either. But, like, I really think she is going to show up, like, during an episode. Like I said, it might not be, like, the main focal point of the episode. It's definitely not going to be resolved this season, because, like you said, it is only, like, 6 or 8 episodes. But, like, she is definitely going to be in it, and they're going to tie that back to that end scene in Black Widow, and probably set up for a season 2. But, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes a little further than that. So,
okay.
Yeah. There has been a little bit of, like, controversy surrounding this series. I don't know if you've seen this at all.
I have not.
So a lot of people are kind of disgruntled, fans and, like, professionals and stuff. They are not crediting or paying David Asia, who is the artist from the 2012 series, even though they're basically using all of his designs for everything. Even, like, the logo of the series, a lot of the production stuff are just straight copies of work that he did. Like scenes he laid out for the comics, or covers of the comics that he did. And to my understanding, he's not even in the credits of the show.
I mean, I have no comment on it. I don't know enough about it to really have a comment. If they're actually not crediting him, that's fucked up. If they're waiting to just do like a credit for him at the end, like, okay, I don't know. I can't really comment on that. Like, I don't know.
In previous shows, they credit a lot of comic creators. Even when it's just, like, real minor stuff they did. They get credited somewhere in it. And in the movies, too. Like, the guys that did the most recent run of Venom were credited in the credits of the newest Venom movie, even though, like, nothing in there was really based off of their work in any sort of, like, real heavy way. So, like, I didn't see this until after we'd watched the episode, so I don't know if he's, like, definitely not in the credits. But, like, if he's not even in the credits as, like, a special thanks, then that's entirely fucked up when, like, this whole show is basically modeled after the book that he drew and designed for, like, 6 years. Like they have put special thanks in these credits for people that, like, had contributions, but like arguably had like smaller amounts of contributions to a particular character than like this guy had for Hawkeye. Like Matt Fraction and David Asia basically defined Hawkeye as like the character he is in the comics now.
Hold on, I'm reading up on. I mean, this is from Epic Stream.
Well, I've never fucking heard that.
Neither have I. It was the first link when I wrote Hawkeye controversy. Fence about watching, especially if you're comic book artist surface social media tweet still highlighted. So fuck this website. What is it? Hawkeye David. What is it?
David Aja, AJA. Oh, he apparently called out Marvel for not paying him for using his work. CBR posted it back in October.
Okay, but like, yeah, back in October.
It was the end of October, so it was shortly before the show came out. But like, apparently he was not paid at all or credited.
That's over a month ago.
I mean, I'm not saying it was yesterday. I'm just simply saying, like, in October he called them out because all the promotional material leading up to the premiere was based on his work.
All right. I mean, like I Marvel Studios. Yeah, I'd have to look more into it to really have a comment. It's fucked up. I guess I'm like, you caught me by surprise on something like that. I wasn't expecting. I didn't know that this was going on, so I had no idea. So I have no comment.
I mean, look, I wasn't looking for a comment. I was just more curious if you had seen any of it, because like I had not seen any of this until after I had watched the episodes, and that's when it started kind of popping up on social media and all. And like, that does suck. Like, if he's not being like credited or compensated or any of that stuff, I'm going to pay attention to the credits when I watch episode 3 to see if his name's in there. And if Fraction's name is in there and his isn't, then it's very weird, because like, he had just as much influence on what's going on as Fraction had. So I guess we'll see. You and your clicky clacky over there.
I'm just trying to figure things out. Just trying to see things.
No, you're clicky clacking is what you're doing. Anything else you want to say about Hawkeye though?
No, it's a good series. I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from it. But no, nothing else right now. Can't wait to hear what you have to think about episode 3.
Yeah, we'll have to. I don't know that we necessarily have to like talk about it every week, but like we should definitely plan on coming back to it like at the end of the season, just to
once at the beginning of the season, end of the season is more than enough.
Yeah, I agree. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
All right.
Nah, that's it. That is definitely it.
Well, next week is going to be our next book club. We are going to be watching Mario Party 5 at giantbomb.com. That should be an experience for everybody. I'm curious to see if Richie hates it or enjoys it. As I think I mentioned it last week, it is one of the defining underdog stories, right up there with Rudy.
Look, I have not watched it yet, and you've already told me it's like 4 hours, so I'm already hating it.
It's like the best 4 ever. It's a sporting event. Like, it's legitimately like watching a sporting event. There's a live crowd like cheering and booing as like their team like makes a point or loses a point or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of it like one of your football games.
Yeah.
Just like a really long football game. But yeah, so that'll be next week. And then the week after that, we're actually going to just do a little mini thing and watch Jingle All the Way 2 because we hate ourselves.
Hold on. Do we really hate ourselves? Wasn't it rated decently?
It's got Larry the Cable Guy, man.
But, I mean, it's got... Oh, right, no, never mind.
I was going to say, there's no way it's got...
IMDb is 3.8, so... yeah, no.
I feel like that... I think when we looked it up, it was on Rotten Tomatoes. It only had an audience score. No critics ever actually reviewed it.
Yeah, the Google search, where it normally would show a Rotten Tomatoes score, it does not.
Yeah, it's got a 30% on audience score from over 250 ratings, and no critic score.
Yeah.
Fantastic sign.
By the way, talking about Jingle All the Way, too, one of these days, for book club, we are going to have to watch Paddington 2, which is apparently the highest rated thing on Rotten Tomatoes.
I've never seen the first one.
It does not matter, because it's not as good as Paddington 2.
Wow, I didn't realize that Paddington 2 was as old as it is. Holy shit, Paddington has a 97 review score and an 80 audience score.
And that's Paddington, not Paddington 2,
Yeah, that's
right?
the first one.
Yeah, Paddington 2 is like 99%.
It is 99% review, 87% audience score. Yeah, I think we do have to watch Watch Paddington's.
Because I was listening to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, and he had Ellie Kemper on this week. And they got to talking about Paddington because his kids came to him and was like, Dad, you want to know what... Like, no, it wasn't even that. He was talking about how like Casablanca or whatever was the #1 rated thing on there, but they recently uncovered a bad review for it that brought it down...
1938. Yeah,
that brought it down underneath Paddington 2. So now Paddington 2 apparently is the highest rated thing. I was looking and there's apparently some 100%ers, but like, this is what Conan said, and if you look up like the top 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, Paddington 2 is listed on there, but it goes like, it doesn't go like by highest to lowest percent. It's just like 99s, 97s. I think it goes by genre or something.
So Casablanca is higher in both regards right now. So, so they're both 99%. Casablanca has a 95% audience score versus Paddington's 87.
Paddington has like 100 more critical reviews though. So it's at a 99 with 247 reviews to Casablanca's like 150.
But honestly, I can't remember if it was Casablanca or maybe Citizen Kane. I can't remember which one it was. It was like one of those old, really well-renowned movies. But it's like, so we have to watch Paddington 2 because it is the best movie on Rotten Tomatoes, according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I mean, not Casablanca. Citizen Kane is a similar situation. It's only got like 117 reviews, like critic reviews, and it's sitting at 99. Yeah. Whereas like for what it's worth, Spider-Verse 97 critic score, 93% audience score, and Moana 95% critic score, 89% review score. So both of them better than Paddington 2 for the audience score. They both also have a lot of reviews. So like Drew said, it might actually those three movies may be closer than we think if we were to like put them all at the same level of review numbers. But that's funny.
I found that out and I was immediately like, we have to watch that for a book club. There's a couple of other things I have ideas for book clubs for the future. So if you guys are ever out of ideas, I have so many of them for us to watch.
Look, man, at some point we're just going to start watching Naruto movies.
Oh, God.
I'll forewarn you now. One of them that I have in mind, I've never seen it. It's on Amazon. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it is a kaiju movie made of puppets. It's only a half hour long.
Oh, fuck. What is that movie that's basically like the Charles Manson murders, but with puppets and everyone's voiced by punk rock fucking musicians?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So there is a movie from like 2007. I know Billy Joe Armstrong is in it. It's all puppets, and I think it's like Helter Skelter or something like that. Like that. That's not necessarily what it's called, but Live Freaky, Die Freaky? Yep, Live Freaky, Die Freaky is a stop-motion animated musical independent film. It is a black comedy based on the Charles Manson murders. Billy Joe plays Charles Manson. It also has Mike Dirnt and Trey Cool from Green Day, Tim Armstrong from Rancid, Davey Havok from AFI, Kelly Osbourne, Travis Barker. Yeah, it's just Benji Madden and Joel Madden.
Okay. We'll have that'll be on the, trust me, I've got so many ideas for our future book clubs. But
or
I just
Bubba Hotep, maybe?
I wanted to talk about Paddington real quick, because we have to watch it, because it is better than Citizen Kane.
But put it on your list so we don't forget to do it later.
Yeah, I will.
Alright, well, I guess at that, we're gonna wrap it up for this week. If you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. Right now, you can go over there, and we have all of the bonus actions up there, as well as the entire first session. And in 2 weeks, the second full session will be up there for Patreon supporters as the individual episodes slowly go live for everybody else. If you can't support us there, though, with your dollars, you can go to your favorite podcast platform. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all those places. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. Those things all help a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.